What's up, Karptastic ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Wizard Wednesday challenge video in this PTCGO series. The Wizard Wednesday challenge consists of several steps and we'll go right into it, we'll dive right into it and start with the first step. In the first step I select an energy typing for today's deck that will be created by the deck wizard. And no worries, we will make adjustments to the deck wizard's deck list that will be generated because they are pretty bad. It's part of the challenge. So today I felt like going with a colorless energy deck in the standard format, and all we have to do right now to finish off the first step is click the pick random button and allow the deck wizard to generate a deck for us. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll take a look at the list generated by the deck wizard in this nice little overview. So what do we have here? We have a Furfrou with tied jaw. Flip a coin if heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed, and also Sharpfang, not too interesting. We've got Lugia-EX, a pretty good card with the Aero Ball as well as the Deep Hurricane. And we got some Rayquazas, Mega Rayquaza and a Swallow here. Once during your turn before you attack, you may have your opponent switch his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her benched Pokemon. So I don't really like the list that was generated here. I don't fancy building a deck around any of these Pokemon. So as is part of the first step of the challenge, I am allowed to get rid of this list, and I will do that right away. And I am allowed to create another random list by the deck wizard for the second time. So we'll go ahead and do that. And if I don't like this list here that's generated right now, then I can generate one more list, and that's it. I have to go with the third list for the next step if I don't like it. But we'll take a look at this one for now. Another Furfrou, collect, draw a card, and then tie jaw. Flip a coin if your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Very reminiscent of the other Furfrou. I've got a Regigigas here. Daunt, for 3 energies, you get to do 80 damage during your opponent's next turn. Any damage done by attacks from the defending Pokemon is reduced by 40. I actually think this is a pretty interesting card. It has 130 hit points, which is really good for a basic, and reducing the damage by 40 basically gives it 170 hit points like an EX. That is actually really interesting, so I think I will stick with this deck list and we will go into the next step of the challenge. The second step of the challenge is that I have to select at least one Pokemon or one Pokemon evolution line from the Pokemons in this list, and I have to select at least half of the trainers from the list before we go into the third step. And I'll do that right now. I will select at least one Pokemon and probably this Regigigas. I'll take a look at this Regigigas for now. Earthen Awakening. Whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to this Pokemon, heal 20 damage from it. And then Gigas Punch. Flip 2 coins if both of them are tails. This attack does nothing. I think I actually prefer this Regigigas, so I'll get rid of this one. I'll also get rid of the Rayquaza EXs. No need to see those. The Ho-Hos, don't want to see the Ho-Hos either. And I think I'll also get rid of the Furfrous. Don't want to see those, neither do I want to see the Mega Rayquazas. And I'll leave it at this. I'll keep these Pokemon in the deck. So I selected at least one Pokemon, the Regigigas, and I even kept the Lugia and the Shaymin. And then now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, only 7 different trainers. So I have to pick 4 out of these 7 cards that I want to keep for the third step. And the 4 that I will keep will probably be, let's take a look. No need to keep the Spirit Links, the Glalie Spirit Links. So we'll get rid of the Spirit Links. We will also get rid of the Stevens. This is a tough call here. Yeah, I want to get rid of the Stevens. And then we only have one more card we can get rid of. Energy Retrieval, Silent Lab. I will get rid of the Silent Lab for sure, because it doesn't really work well with the Shaymins that we have in the list at this point. And that's it. And that is the end of the second step of the Wizard Challenge. So now I've got about half of the original deck left, half of the trainers, some of the Pokemons, and then of course the energies, but the energies don't really matter. We can actually just use the energies that we want. I'll get rid of the lightning and the water energies for now. I like the fire energies because you can use them with the Scorched Earth Stadium, for example, from our opponents, if our opponent plays fire Pokemon. But that's it for the second step. We will go into the third step right now, and the third step is that I need to take all of these cards here from the PTCGO generated deck list and turn them into a deck of my own. So my final list must contain all of these Pokemon, all of these trainers, and then of course some energies so that we can attack. And I'll be right back when I've finished up my own list. Here I am with the final list. Before we delve into it, I've got to make a slight remark. I previously decided to keep the energy retrievals and get rid of the Silent Lab, but I have reversed that decision. I have kept a Silent Lab in the deck list and got rid of the energy retrievals from the original PTCGO deck wizards list. So first off, let's have a look and find the cards from the original list. Here's the Lugia, the Regigigas and the Shaymins from the original list, as was decided to keep those in the deck. Then as well the trainer cards that I had to keep in the deck, let's find those. The Crushing Hammers, Giovanni's Scheme, what else was there? Xerosic, as well as the Silent Lab here. So indeed all of the cards that were in the original list are still here, so we can put a check mark next to that part of the challenge. And then the other part of the challenge is me having made the original list into a somewhat viable list. So let's go over the final list here that I came up with. The main strategy will be to use Regigigas Daunt attack for 80 damage to 3 colorless energies. We will try to power up Regigigas with a DCE and then some fairy energies. So we will need at least 2 attachments with the DCE, one with the DCE, one with the fairy energy. And we will try to speed up that process using max elixirs, 4 max elixirs in the deck here to help power up Regigigas on the bench. And I chose to go with fairy energies instead of the fire energies that were left in the original list. I chose to go with the fairy energies here since they work really well with the Fairy Garden Stadium. That's the second stadium in this deck besides the Silent Lab. Silent Lab is just here for the start of the game. If we have a good hand and we don't need to use Shaymin, then we can put down a Silent Lab, for example if you are facing Night March, and that would slow down Night March tremendously, as well as some other decks. But the main stadium from this deck will be Fairy Garden. This will allow us to have free retreat with the fairy energies, and then we can retreat the Regigigas to the bench, use the max elixir on Regigigas and power it up some more. Or we could as well just switch between Regigigas and Lugia-EX to perform an aerial ball, because all of our Pokemon here have a fairly hefty retreat cost. 2 for the Lugia, 4 for the Regigigas, and also 2 for the Bunnelby. Bunnelby is simply in this deck for the Rototiller to possibly get some DCEs back into our deck. And Shaymin is just here for setup, of course, for helping us draw through our deck and find these max elixirs. Then the other cards that I added were 4 Ultra Balls, for searching out our Pokemon, 4 VS Seekers for consistency, 1 Hex Maniac when we face item lock decks like Trevenant or Greninja Break deck, so we can shut off the Water Shurikens, 1 Judge to disrupt our opponent's hand, 2 Lysander, 2 copies of the Lysander, very important card here, so we can Lysander out some Pokemon on our opponent's bench and potentially stall or get a knockout on a Pokemon that we want. 4 Fighting Fury Belts. These Fighting Fury Belts come in handy a lot here. Slap on a Fighting Fury Belt on the Regigigas, that it has 170 hit points and hits for 90 with the Daunt, and on top of that we reduce the damage by 40. So basically it acts like, the Regigigas then acts like it has 210 hit points, which is pretty insane. And then what else is there left? We have 3 Sycamores for draw support, 1 Birch for draw support as well, 1 Switch mainly for the start of the game when we don't have the fairy energies attached yet, or for the late game if we are out of stadiums, so we can still switch between our Pokemon, and 1 Super Rod to get back Regigigas and some energies from the discard pile. And that's it. That is the entire final list generated from the original Deck Wizards list. Leave a like if you enjoy what you are seeing, and as well if you enjoy the battles that are about to come, and subscribe to my channel for more Wizard Wednesday challenges, for more competitive, silly and fun deck ideas. And we will now go into the last part of the challenge, which is bring this deck into the versus ladder and see if we can pull off a win. I'll see you in the battles. Here we go. Our first opponent of the day is Zephron at 3-5 with a colorless, metal, darkness and a grass deck. And hopefully we can go first. Never mind. I should never hope for such a thing. It's Zephron who is going to go first, and I'm expecting to see darkness attackers. We start off with a terrible hand. This is actually the second game that I'm playing. I started off with a terrible hand in the first game as well. Couldn't do anything, just had started off with a lone Bunnelby, and that was it. I had to pass 3 turns and the Bunnelby got knocked out, and that was the end of that. Not very interesting. We'll start off with the Lugia-EX in the active spot. We have a bunch of hammers there. Actually wanted to put down the Regigigas, clicked on down too fast. Just too fast for my own good. We'll put it down after this. And there's, oh, it's a Mega T-Tar deck, a Mega Tyranitar with a baby Eviltal, which should be a pretty interesting opponent for our deck. Lugia-EX can come in handy because the Tyranitar EX does take a lot of energies. So hitting with the Lugia-EX could be a good strategy. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Opponent discards Lysander Teammates and a Darkness Energy, probably for combination with the Oblivion Wing from the Eviltal, so you can get back the Darkness Energy, put it on the Tyranitar EX. We get a switch. Might as well try and get rid of that Darkness Energy on the baby Eviltal. We have all these hammers here, and gosh, they keep failing. There's a Giovanni scheme. We'll go to Giovanni. It's the only draw support we have. And another Tails. Are you kidding me? What the heck, man? 3 Tails. We get this. Might as well leave it at this, and oh, I'm gonna cry, swear. That's just another terrible first turn. Oh well, oh well. DCE on the Tyranitar. So the Tyranitar is nearly ready to go. There's a Spirit Link as well. Just needs 2 more energies. We'll get another energy attached to it after this turn. And there's another energy as well. Yeah, this is my opponent has gotten everything going for him. Destroyer King. This attack does 60 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. We have no damage counters on our Pokemon at this point, but after the Oblivion Wing we will have 30 on it, and that will be enough for a knockout pretty soon. Even my opponent even puts down the Team Magma Secret Base. This is looking very terrible for us. Very terrible indeed. There it is. The Mega T-Tar has been powered up. We do get a DCE. And I will switch right now. I think... No, I didn't want to switch. Never mind. Shouldn't have switched. I switched. Too bad. Let's get rid of these two. Get out another Regigigas. And I will counter the stadium. Don't want to put damage on my Regigigas. We'll draw into some more cards here. We get a hammer. I'll go with the hammer. Discard a DCE from the Mega T-Tar. And we have to end our turn here. This is looking terrible. We are way behind in setting up. No max elixirs as of yet. No, nothing. My opponent has had 2 max elixirs. Has 1 DCE in a discard pile. He's trying to dig for another DCE, I bet. He's already down to 24 cards. Okay, even gets a tool revive. I never knew this Mega Tyranitar could have 2 tools attached. That's interesting. There's a tool retriever, gets rid of the Heart Charm and puts the Heart Charm on the Mega Tyranitar EX and the Spirit Link on the other Tyranitar. Very, very interesting. And look at that. What am I supposed to do against this? Against such a good turn? I can't do anything against that. That's just impossible to combat with the hands that we have. And we'll just start attacking, go for the Daunt. It's the only thing we can do at this point. Next turn we'll attach a DCE, go with the Sycamore. Or maybe promote the Lugia if the Regigigas got knocked out. I should have benched this Lugia. Should have benched the Lugia indeed. And I think my opponent needs a switch right now to switch into the Mega Tyranitar. There's another Max Elixir. That's 2 Tyranitars that's been powered up. That is very scary indeed. Oh, and the Oblivion Wing failed, of course, since we prevented the damage with the... Well... with the Daunt attack. I'm losing my words here. And let's see, do I want to put down the Lugia? If we see that's... Panic will come out. Don't really know. I'm going to power up the Regigigas on the bench. And then I'll put down the Lugia just to have it as a backup attacker. I will go with the Sycamore, discard that energy Shaymin. I don't want to put down another Shaymin. Finally we get something here. And it fails. Oh my goodness, it fails. Silent Lab, will take it. Might as well look for another Shaymin then. I really want to get... really want to get a Max Elixir and then switch into the Regigigas on the bench if we can hit that Max Elixir. We should be able to hit it. And there it is. If we don't hit it now, I'm gonna... I swear. Oh, there we go. Finally, we hit it. So we will switch right now. That way, the Tyranitar will have more trouble knocking out our Regigigas. Here we go. Daunt on the Baby Eviltal. If only we could have licensed out the Tyranitar. And we take the first prize of the game. Surprisingly, very surprisingly. And there's a Hexmaniac. The Hexmaniac is not very useful. We could see a Fortress come down. That could put 10 damage on the Regigigas. There's an Ultra Ball, so it's very likely that we will see the Fortress. But we should stay alive. We will hit for 170 minus 40. That's 140. And that's enough to stay alive. And then we'll probably hit for the heavy impact. Go with a Giovanni Scheme. And another Shauna for my opponent. My opponent's down to 8 cards. He needs to be wary of the deck out. And there's another Mega T-Tar. So many Mega T-Tars ready to go. 170. Why is that? Oh, because, yeah. Oh, I should have kept this one in the active spot. Should have kept this one in the active spot. Oh, no. Because the defending Pokemon changed. We will hit for it with the Lugia then. Against... Actually, this other Mega T-Tar. We'll hit against the other Mega T-Tar. I will go with the Giovanni Scheme just to increase our damage output a little bit. Let's take a look. Let's count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 120. Yeah, we're only hitting for 140 then. But at least... that brings us down. That brings this Mega T-Tar down. We can't hit for it because I forgot we already used the supporter. We used the Lysander. So that's pretty dumb. A hit for the Iron Ball for 120. Next turn we will get knocked out. Our Lugia-EX will get knocked out. There's no doubt about it. If only we didn't have that 10 damage on it. Oh, and a Lysander from my opponent. What is he going to go for? Oh, the other Lugia-EX leaves this one alive. Bringing himself down to 3 prizes. Not sure why he did that. Yeah, not quite sure. Huh. Well, we'll promote the Lugia and we'll see what else we can pull off here. Ooh, we get a Fighting Fury belt. Excellent stuff. This should be a knockout. We hit for 120 in the previous turn. We will hit for 120 again. And we will start powering up the Regigigas on the bench. And we'll leave it at that Air Ball for the knockout. Bringing ourselves down to 2 prizes. Making it a little bit exciting. Oh, and there's another Regigigas. Yes. How many VS Seekers has my opponent used? Only one. Only one VS Seeker. 2 VS Seekers actually. What is he going to go for now? Oh, another Pineco. I should have countered the stadium. Should have countered the stadium. Do we see another Fortress? I kept it in my hand because I didn't want to see a counter stadium to my own. And there it is indeed, another Fortress. Oh, if I countered the stadium we would have been able to stay alive. And now we will not stay alive. This is really too bad indeed. This is not looking good whatsoever. We'll promote the Regigigas. We will take a look at this trainer's mail. Maybe we can pull up the Fortress and stall until our opponent decks out. We'll counter the stadium, little too late. We'll put down this Regigigas. We'll pull up the Fortress. We'll try and stall this way. We'll retreat into the Regigigas on the bench without any damage counters, which should be able to stay alive. And we'll end our turn. If my opponent cannot get a switch, that will be fantastic. Winning by deck out. It's one way to win. It's not the most honorable, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to win. And there's a trainer's mail. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a switch in there. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a switch. How did he retreat the other Baby Eviltal? Goes for a VS Seeker. Where is my opponent's switches? I don't see any switches in here. How did he retreat the Baby Eviltal? I'm really not sure. We'll just pause the turn. Counters the stadium again, passes the turn. Yeah, we'll win by deck out. That's how we will win here, I think. I have to rewatch the footage and see how my opponent... Oh, I wanted to attach that Fighting Fury belt. See how my opponent retreated the Baby Eviltal. And that's it, I think. Wow. There's a Lysander. Probably a Lysander. Yeah, I need a Lysander. I knew it before my opponent took it out of the discard pile. Lysander's out. The Regigigas. But yeah, that's it. We win the game. Amazing stuff. It's one way to win, but hey. We'll take it. I'll take it. And oof. I thought the game crashed for a second there. It did something weird. It like froze. Oh my gosh, I was scared for a moment there. And can't believe that we took the win in this game. My gosh, this is one for the books. This is definitely one for the books. Even though we were behind all the time, and even though yeah, well, sometimes you gotta guess. I didn't counter the stadium and it turned out bad for us, so I guess you could call it a mistake. So even though that happened, we managed to pull off the win. We did 430 damage, my opponent did 910, and we drew in about equal amounts of cards. Very, very interesting game here. You see, there's many ways to win games, and taking out your opponent is one of them. I think we should find ourselves one more match where the Regigigas can really shine, so I'll see you in the next battle. Our next opponent is Coyotenorio with a I don't know deck. Let's go for heads. I don't know what happened there. I suddenly was overtaken by another personality within myself. Strange things are happening. Look at that, we start off with a nice hand. We start off with the Lugia-EX in the active spot. That's what I'm gonna do. Put the Lugia in the active spot and put the Regigigas on the bench. And then probably draw into some more cards with the Shaymin. Not sure what to do with that energy. Oh, a Gible. I don't want to face that Gible with the Lugia-EX. So we'll attach to the Lugia-EX so we can retreat it at some point. Then we'll attach the Fighting Fury Belt to the Regigigas. We'll draw into some more cards. If we get another Fighting Fury Belt, I will put it on the Lugia-EX. And we do. That way, if we see a Garchomp come out, our Lugia is quite safe. Although with the resistance, it should be safe unless we see a strong energy and a stadium. Never mind, I will put it on the Lugia. It is on the field. I don't want to give it as a one-hit KO to my opponent. So we'll go with this. And then we'll end our turn. We have a DCE to attach to the Lugia, which could allow us to knock out this Gible. But ideally I want to power up the Regice. Unfortunately we didn't get much from that hand. We didn't get any draw support. We got nothing. And there is the stadium already. Kind of want to get rid of that Remoraid. That Remoraid is my opponent's draw support. And there is a Focus Sash. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of the Remoraid instead of the Gible. Don't want my opponent to get out some draw support. So let's take a look. This Remoraid is 60 hit points. Okay, we'll knock it out with the DCE then. That should be sufficient. Take a prize. Hopefully get some draw support from the prizes. And let's see. Drumroll. Oh, Giovanni. I guess that's fine. I'm fine with the Giovanni. It is draw support in some way. Next turn, the Gible will get knocked out. Oh, and there it is. There is the concede from my opponent. Our next opponent is gonna be Gooey-S with the Night March deck. Looks like Night March. Night March is a tough matchup for Regigigas. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a very easy matchup. We'll have to see what we can do here. This is going to be a little bit tricky to be able to pull off. We do start off first. I should have started off second actually, so we could have gotten the first knockout. Never mind. Click too fast. Was thinking too fast. Doing so many things too fast today. We'll reshuffle our hands. We mulligans. And oh my gosh. 3 Regigigas. That's a lot of Regigigas to go. We'll put them all down. We'll need a lot of them. If this is indeed Night March. Maybe this is Manectric. It is Night March. Never mind. So we'll attach this to the Regigigas in the active spot. This to the one on the bench. Then we'll go with a Max Elixir. Start powering up this Regigigas. We'll go with a Burge. This Zero Seek can come in handy to discard some DCEs later on. It's Tails. No. Oh, and another Fighting Fury Belt. Look at that. And we even get a Trainer's Mail for a Fairy Garden, which I will get out. So next turn, if we can get a Fairy Energy, we can retreat the Regigigas in the active spot. And then we are going to end our turn. Leave it to my opponent, which hopefully cannot get the first knockout. We will need 8 Night Marches in the discard pile to get the first knockout. There's a Battle Compressor going for the Lampens. That's 3 out of the 8. Needs 5 more after that. At least I'm guessing we will see 3 Lampens hit the discard pile. would be kind of strange not to. Maybe a supporter with it. No, it's 3 Lampens. 3 Lampens, and then, oh my gosh, 6 already. So my opponent needs 2 more. This is not looking good. I'm gonna say this is not looking good. That's a really good start for my opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 indeed. My opponent has got 2 more Joltik and 3 more Pumpkaboos in the deck. Needs to find 2 of those and discard them, and that would be enough. Well, actually needs 9 Night Marchers in the discard pile for the knockouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it needs to find 4 more. Unfortunately, we could not get down the Silent Lab, so we could have prevented the Shaymin. There's a Fighting Fury Belt. That's okay. We can still one-hit KO the Joltik. And a Floatstone on the Shaymin. We really need some draw support. We have the Giovanni here, but that's not the best draw support to get. So we'll only draw into 5 cards with that. I don't really want to put down the Shaymin. And there's a Pumpkaboo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Needs 2 more. Needs 2 more Night Marchers in the discard pile. Yes, I think I'm calculating that correctly. We have 170 hit points, so he needs. Oh no, he needs 8 actually. Needs one more. Because of the Fighting Fury belt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he has 1 more, that's. There it is. That's a knockout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 2. That's 160 plus 10 from the Fighting Fury belt. That's 170, and that is for sure very clutch first. I don't think we could have done anything against that. Our opponent just had a really good hand, a really nice start, very fluent. Get a DCE. I'll put down the stadium, and I'll actually keep this. No, I'll use it. I'll use the Giovanni scheme and draw into 5 more cards. I need some more cards in my hand. We get a Lysander. That's actually what I wanted to see. We have a DCE. We could Lysander out as a Shaymin for a knockout in the next turn. We need some more Pokemon though. Might have to put down the Shaymin. So we'll go for the KO with the Joltik. On the Joltik, taking a prize. At least we have taken a prize against Night March. And there's X-Maniac, a little too late. Little too late indeed. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 Joltiks in the discard pile. There's only 1 left. There's only 2 Pumpkaboos left. Opponent can get them back with the Puzzles of Time. Should have 3 more. Goes for a Sycamore, discarding 2 Lysanders. Luckily we didn't put down the Shaymin. Otherwise he would have Lysandered out the Shaymin. I think we're doing our best here against Night March. We're doing our best that we can without giving up prizes. Let's take a look at the amount of VS Seekers. 1, 2, 3. So my opponent, 4 VS Seekers. My opponent won't be able to use the Lysanders anymore. We can put down the Shaymins. We are safe. We are going to put down the Shaymin then. That's it. I have decided. Maybe we can draw into some hammers to get rid of the DCEs. That would be cool as well. 1 DCE is in the discard pile. That's unfortunate that my opponent didn't have to discard any other DCE, and he's discarding some more cards. I wonder which cards. Alright, so got rid of the Starling Megaphone. That's an interesting choice there, because with getting rid of these Fighting Fury belts would be pretty huge for my opponent. Because now we have actually a knockout on the Shaymin, otherwise we wouldn't have. My opponent does need some more Night Marches. Maybe I should go for a knockout on the Pumpkaboo actually. Maybe I should do that. So I'll attach the DCE. And I think I'm going to go for a knockout on the Pumpkaboo. Unless my opponent has kept something in his hand. Because next turn the Regigigas goes down. We need something here. We need something else to attack. Yeah, we cannot use the Lysander. We need something else to attack. I'm going to discard my hands. And there's some hammers, another Regigigas. Excellent. That's what I wanted to see. I think the max elixir will fail. Oh no, it doesn't. Oh, we have a backup attacker. Look at that. We have a backup attacker. We will hit for the Daunt. Staying in the game here. Just barely though, just barely. There's the Shaymin. Where are our VS Seekers? We really would like to see some VS Seekers so that we can get... Oh, a DCE is in the prizes as well as a Joltik and another Shaymin. I need some VS Seekers. It means our opponent has the Puzzles of Time, so probably see the Puzzles of Time. There is the teammates for the Puzzles of Time. That's too bad. That means our Regigigas will go down. Yeah. We were so close. We were so close. If only our opponent could have a bad turn, that would allow us some time, but it doesn't look like it. I think our opponent will go for the Joltik from the prizes. And there is the knockout. Indeed. We have to promote this Regigigas. We don't have a choice. And our last DCE is going to hit the discard pile pretty soon. Oh, this is not looking good whatsoever. Oh, it didn't go for the Joltik. It went for the DCE actually. Might as well counter the stadium here. We'll go for an Ultra Ball. Gets maybe a Bunnelby to get back a DCE in our deck. We'll go with the Bunnelby. We can get back some DCEs that way and some energies. We'll go with the Sycamore for now. And there we get a hammer. We know that our opponent doesn't have any liceners available unless he runs 3, but that would really surprise me. We'll hit the max elixir. Oh, it does hit. Look at that. I will put that on a Shaymin, then we can do a Sky Return. And we'll even put this on the Shaymin. I will go for a knockout with the Regigigas. Yeah, we'll go for a knockout with Regigigas, forcing my opponent to promote that Shaymin on the bench. I get another hammer. I'm really expecting to see the Puzzles of Time from my opponent. Oh, but he can't use them anymore. There's... Oh yes, he can. He has 2 more left, I believe. There is indeed the Puzzles of Time. There's gonna be a knockout on the Regigigas. For indeed the Pumpkaboo and the DCE. So many things my opponent had going for him. And even the stadium. We'll counter the stadium once again after this. How many stadiums are in the discard pile? Only 1. So my opponent definitely has another stadium. At least the liceners are in the discard pile already. We'll discard the DCE again. 1, 2. So my opponent has 1 more DCE. If we can get rid of that last DCE after this one, then we should be fairly safe. We should indeed be fairly safe. So we'll promote the Shaymin, and then we'll promote the Bunnelby after that. Maybe we should promote the Bunnelby right now. Rototiller some DCEs back into our deck. And I think I'll do that. I'll promote the Bunnelby, Rototiller 2 DCEs back into our deck. We'll get rid of that DCE on my opponent's Pumpkaboo. We'll put down another Shaymin. We're drawing to 2 more cards. I don't want to deck myself out, so I'm gotta be careful here. And there's the VS Seekers that we wanted to see earlier on. Okay, so time to counter the stadium and shuffle back DCEs into our deck here. We'll Rototiller for a DCE. I will Rototiller for another DCE. My opponent is out of Puzzles of Time, so the last DCE in his deck. Actually, maybe we should Rototiller for a hammer. I'm not sure. Should I Rototiller for a hammer? I'm going to Rototiller for a hammer. That way we have 2 shots at discarding my opponent's DCE, and without a DCE we should be safe. So we have at least a DCE and a hammer left in our deck. We can dig for it with the Sycamore, and then we can Sky Return with the Shaymin. It all comes down to this last DCE. And there it is on the Pumpkaboo, on the Joltik on the bench, and a switch into the Joltik. Look at that, my opponent has so many clutch hands, I cannot believe it. And a Psychic Third Eye is going to dig for something, I'm not sure what. All the VS Seekers are gone, if I calculated, if I saw that correctly. All the, yeah, there it is. Oh my gosh, we have to get rid of that DCE. I should have just shuffled back some more hammers. Or we could actually Lysander out the Pumpkaboo, and I don't think my opponent can do anything about that. So we will promote the Shaymin, and we have several outs here. We can Lysander out the Pumpkaboo, which doesn't have a float stone. This fails. Do we go for the Lysander? This is the question here. Do we go for the Lysander, or do we go for the Sycamore and try find another hammer? How many switches would my opponent play? I'm thinking only 1 switch and only 1 float stone. Did we use our Super Rod actually? It seems like we did not. Yeah, I'm going to play safe here. I'm going to go with the Lysander. Lysander out the Pumpkaboo. I think that's our best bet right now. Next turn we can dig for the hammer. Oh, I just wish my opponent does not have anything to retreat. There it is. And we'll end our turn. Oh my, this is so tense. Can we run our opponent out of resources? There's a Trainer's Mail. If this Trainer's Mail fails to find a float stone or a switch, it finds an Acrobike. It doesn't find a switch, it doesn't find a float stone. This might be it. We just have to pass our turn if this is the case. And we would win another game by a deck out. Another Trainer's Mail. But we know what's there. We know that my opponent only had an Acrobike. Acrobikes is going to thin out his deck. What is he looking for? I don't think he has it. Decks out. We are going to win another game by the deck out. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. Well, this was sure interesting. I think my opponent knows it. It's GG. Night March lost against Regigigas. There is the concede. We played this game very well, I think. We clutched the game. We promoted the rights. We didn't play down our Shaymins until we were sure that we couldn't see a Lysander. My opponent should have maybe grabbed Lysanders with these Puzzles of Time, but he was already running out of DCE, so he didn't really have a choice. We just made sure that Night March ran out of resources. And that's what you gotta do when you play Night March with a deck that doesn't have a direct counter. Regigigas is still the MVP against Joltik. 260 damage dealt versus 960. Biggest attack 90 versus 210. And still we managed to win the game. I'm loving this. Kind of sad to see that we didn't really see Regigigas in action as it was supposed to be, because we won by deck out twice, but that's just what happens on a PTCGO. I've been playing a fair amount of matches, but most of them were very quick, so I cannot include those, and I don't really have much more time today to include additional matches, and I think this video is long enough as it is, so we'll end it here. Leave a like if you enjoyed this epic win against Night March, and subscribe to my channel for more competitive, silly and fun deck ideas, and I will see you next time.
Karp, 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 Karp.